The man is a famous lawyer with an undefeated record, but on this day in court, he was beaten up by his own client. It turned out that the man's client was accused of burglary, and the police had no physical evidence. The accusation was entirely based on witness testimony. The man tried to catch the witness in a verbal loophole, but the witness had a clear logic, making it impossible for the man to win, so he deliberately provoked his client, using the criminal's violence to intimidate the witness. He succeeded. The witness was too scared to testify in court. He chose an out-of-court settlement, and the man won again. However, the man was not very happy, because his other client was accused of murder. The deceased had once helped the man testify against a drug lord. The man suspected that the suspect was a scapegoat, and the girl died as a result of retaliation by the drug lord. To investigate the truth, he sent the man to the apartment where the deceased was killed to verify the facts. The man learned from the deceased's neighbor that the deceased had a heated argument with someone that night. Just after that person left, the neighbor smelled smoke, indicating a fire in the next apartment. The neighbor called the fire department, but when the firefighters arrived, the fire had already been put out. It could be that the murderer tried to destroy the body and evidence, but didn't know that the building was equipped with a fire sprinkler system. On the other hand, the preliminary autopsy results showed that the girl had two fractures of the hyoid bone, suggesting strangulation as the cause of death. The coroner estimated the time of death between PM and AM. The man admitted to being at the deceased's house that night and leaving around PM, when the deceased was still alive. However, there was no fire that night. The fire department arrived at 11:43 and found the deceased's body, meaning she died within those 43 minutes. The lawyer questioned the boy again, and finally learned from him that the deceased was arranged to entertain two new clients that night, since both were cash transactions booked online. The boy didn't know the clients' true identities. He only confirmed through hotel reservations that the clients had real needs and it wasn't a trap. However, neither client came that night. Only the first one went, and the second one never showed up because the deceased owed money to the man. He went to her house right after her transaction ended to collect the debt before she could spend the money, but the deceased refused to pay, and an argument broke out between them. Obviously, the man had lied at first, and he was also a major suspect. The lawyer wanted to leave, but the man told the lawyer that the deceased had asked him to find Lincoln. Ultimately, Lincoln decided to continue representing the man's case. When Lincoln got home, he found his house in disarray. He picked up a pillow casually and found a snake slithering out from underneath it. Lincoln knew this was a warning from the drug lord, which also meant that the suspect might be innocent. This strengthened Lincoln's determination to find out the truth. Lincoln immediately called the police, but the police didn't find any useful clues. Lincoln decided to investigate from the beginning, starting with the two clients the deceased entertained that night. The first client was a consultant for an agricultural agency. Due to a flight to catch, he made the appointment very early and left directly by plane after the meeting. The airline confirmed that he took the scheduled flight and left, so the suspicion against the first client was ruled out. Next was the second client. They met at the hotel, but according to the suspect, the second client never showed up that night. To verify this, Lincoln sent the man to request the hotel's surveillance footage, but without a search warrant, the hotel didn't cooperate. Fortunately, the man used the hotel's insider who sold celebrity information to successfully obtain the hotel surveillance footage. Upon reviewing it, they indeed found something strange.